It's a good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there. If you're out there watching, say something so we know you're there. And on the panel so far, we have Mr. Jason Stewart. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good. Good to see you, Rich. Good to see you, Kingpin.
And next, the aforementioned Kingpin. How are you tonight?
Yo,
So, we now know who the five for each side are going to be in Blood and Guts. I was shocked to see Pac return and be the one for Blackpool Combat Club.
what's up, Gary?
Hey, Gary.
I know who the Pat guy is. I've seen him before. Obviously, I don't know who the Japanese guy is. So I don't know. I'm not really all that. I don't know.
Kota Ibushi is a former New Japan World Heavyweight Champion and a lifelong, almost lifelong friend of Kenny Omega. The two of them got started in Japan wrestling under lower promotions over there together as a tag team. They've known each other for a while. Yeah, it's that looks like it's going to be an interesting match. But yeah, if you haven't seen Kota Ibushi wrestle before, he's a madman. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this match goes down.
When is this Blood and Guts event?
Wednesday. They're taking what should be on a pay per view and putting it on the regular Wednesday night programming for AEW.
That's cool, man. Free.
AEW's television show is light years more superior than WWE when it comes to in-ring quality entertainment. Uh, the WWE was all psyched up, and I'm giving them their credit. Seth Rollins has had championship matches on regular television. Uh, Seth Rollins had a championship match on NXT. The Judgment Day did really good on NXT, but pay-per-view type of bangers every Wednesday on AEW.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like every once in a while you might see one on WWE, like when Kevin Owens took on Gunther. That should have been on pay per view. That match was crazy. They beat the hell out of each other. But yeah, it's like every Wednesday the main event on Dynamite could have been on a pay per view.
Friday night's a little bit different for AEW. Fridays, in
Mm-hmm.
my opinion, you got to be like hardcore AEW or Ring of Honor, uh, because it's more wrestling gimmicky. Uh, Keith Lee and Dustin Rhodes, for example, the match that they had Friday, it was a good match. It was fun to watch, but it was kind of gimmicky wrestling because Dustin and Keith are big, massive, undefeatable guys. Which I got a trivia question for you, Rich. Uh, but the Willow Nightingale match was surprisingly enough for two big fat girls was a great match. Uh, Saturday the collisions so far they've been putting on. If you're paying for tickets, and whether you like them or not, seeing a Samoa Joe versus CM Punk match is pretty good. So if you're getting it for free on television, that's a pretty good deal.
I still say Samoa Joe should have won that.
what is the Battle of the Belts that's coming on Saturday after a collision?
It's just one of their special episode things that they do every. It used to be on. They will put that on after Rampage. Now, this time they're putting it on after Collision, basically adding a third hour to Collision.
Right on.
But there's going to be some good matches on there. You're going to have to, let's try to remember what our matches. Lance Archer is going to be challenging Orange Cassidy
Hmm.
for the international title. That should be interesting. Let's see. Try to remember who else.
Tony Storm and
Yeah, Tony Storm defending against Taya Valkyrie.
mhm.
Um, Luchasaurus is going to be defending the TNT title. For the life of me, I can't remember against who. I mean, it's only an hour, and they got like 4 or 5 different championship matches already scheduled for that show. I don't see how they're possibly going to be making it only an hour long.
Evening there, Buck.
Hey, but
Are they going to let Adam Cole and MJF be tag team champions too?
man, I don't know, but I don't see them losing to Sammy Guevara and Danny Garcia. I'll tell you that much.
Is there a women's tag team championship in AEW at all?
No, not in AEW. Buck saying he's having internet issues. Oh, that sucks. There's a lot of that going around this weekend. Snob was having internet issues, and then Hillbilly was having internet issues during Gary's show. Chris had to drop out from Gary's show because his internet went out.
It's what you get for living in the holler, man. Big cities bring big technology.
Chris don't live that far from you.
Yeah, that's right. We got the same internet, people.
Uh-huh.
Did you see Jake the Snake? Did you see Friday's show?
Yeah.
Jake the
Watch
Snake
it.
looks like he should go home.
Yeah. Well, he's old, man. He just got to where he doesn't have to use oxygen anymore. He was on oxygen.
Yeah, I know. He should just relax at the house.
Yeah, he needs to go home and just sit back in the recliner, get himself a cold one, and just sit there and watch TV. Well, not cold tea. Well,
Yeah, tea, iced
yeah,
tea, cold
iced
water.
tea. Cold Pepsi, cold Coke. But not the other, because we all know his issues. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, that Battle of the Belts thing.
So
This
did you watch Raw and SmackDown and NXT and all that?
I didn't get a chance to catch NXT. I did watch Raw and SmackDown.
Matt Riddle and McIntyre. That's not going to work. I don't. I mean, the Randy Orton thing worked with him, but I don't see this coming. Being like McIntyre is corny and creepy when he's acting like
Well,
bro.
it's like they're throwing Matt Riddle in wherever they need somebody. Sammy and KO needed a third, so they threw Matt Riddle in.
Yeah.
McIntyre needs somebody to help back him up, so they throw Riddle in. It's like since Randy Orton got hurt, they don't know what to do with Matt Riddle at this point.
They need to take in this year, give them the titles, and then get them thrones. And like SmackDown and Raw, they just sit at the corner, sit at the ring in their thrones with their championship belts on, and shoo away all the peasant tag teams that are left, and just never give anybody a shot at
Yeah.
the belts.
Speaking of Indus Sher, is it just me, or does every time Jinder Mahal come out with them as their manager, does he look more and more like a James Bond villain?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what they're going for, because they were playing that up in NXT a lot better, and it's gotten better because when they were doing it in NXT, it was kind of, I guess, chalkboard ideas like, hey, let's just give this a shot and see what happens or whatever. But they've sharpened that up quite a bit.
Yeah, he's like the James Bond villain, and Indus Sher or his version of Jaws. Remember the guy from the James Bond villain movies with the metal teeth?
Yeah. Notice next time you watch Dominic Mysterio, when he's wrestling, the crowd just boos him because he's the bad guy, but they don't nail him like they do every time he touches the microphone.
Mm.
Oh, I mean, obviously, unless you count the Dom "you suck" chants. Those are
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. Dom, you suck.
All right,
Dom won't even be the one in the ring, and he's the Dom, you suck chance.
what'd you think of the Zoe Stark Becky Lynch match?
Yeah, that it was predictable.
What about the quality of the actual in ring work?
Oh, it wasn't bad, but the ending was predictable.
Yeah.
What do you think about Paul Heyman getting super kicked?
Man, it was good, but I don't think they did it right because you know Paul Heyman's clearly not a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he recovered from the super kick a little too fast.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. You beat me. That's what my complaint was going to be, that he did not sell that long enough for somebody who's not a professional wrestler.
Who super kicked him?
Jey Uso.
So,
I mean, the kick on Heyman looked good. Heyman sold the initial kick well, but he didn't. He wasn't knocked out nearly enough.
yeah.
He should have had to have had Solo help him to the back, but they didn't do it that way for whatever reason.
Well, that's what I thought would have been good because Jay had already thrown Solo out of the ring and then hit him, so he was kind of like hurt and dealing with himself.
Mm-hmm.
When he super kicked Paul Heyman could have stayed there like all stupid and drunked out and laying on the ground slobbering, and Jay could have still picked up the chair, and the Solo could have just grabbed Paul Heyman by the legs and pulled him out of the ring, and then
Right, exactly. That's what I thought was going to happen. They had the perfect setup for that. Instead, they did what they did instead.
uh, the NXT crowd. It's only what 100 people,
Yeah,
200
something like
people that
that.
watch the NXT shows.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
They did their best when Dominic was talking to boo him off the mic. It's a lot. It's obviously a lot different when there's not 10,000 people, but they
Mm-hmm.
tried.
So, who do you think is going to win this U.S. title invitational thing that they got going on now?
I thought it would have been a good shot for Grayson Waller to win, to go up against Austin Theory and win or lose. I do think that Grayson was the focus of that match that he was in because most of the action was focused on him. It's kind of okay. Him losing kind of worked out. It's not bad. The Santos guy, I'm not a fan of his. So obviously, the only person that I can point at is L.A. Knight. Oh, come on. Where's the
Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah. But there's but there's a guy in the one next week named Sheamus.
Okay, the problem that comes with Sheamus is I think the WWE wants to give him a bonus. Like I think he's owed a bonus and he's owed, hey, we're gonna put a title on you for a few weeks, and they're trying to figure out how to get it there. So I think you're kind of right about that they want to show some love to Sheamus, but no wrestler on planet Earth is more popular than LA Knight. None of them. Not MJF, not Rome. None are more popular. Now they might not be more over, because MJF can cuss you out or be goofy like he is with Adam Cole right now, and the people just love every bit of it, no matter
Oh
what
man,
he does.
MJ being a heel playing babyface right now is freaking hilarious.
Yeah, and people love it. I mean, people are just absolutely enjoying it. But the explosion that you get, like when SmackDown Friday night when LA Knight came out, he was out
Oh
there
yeah.
for 10 seconds, and the crowd lost their mind.
Mm-hmm. All he did was talk for a couple. Like I don't even think he was out there for a minute.
No, it was probably 10, 15 seconds tops. Well, 30 seconds tops.
Yeah.
Uh,
The problem I see with Sheamus winning though, it's the wrong title.
yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
He should be going after the Intercontinental title because that's the one he's never held.
Yeah.
But they got him on the wrong show for that.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, Gunther, he could still challenge Gunther for the title because
What?
the champion is supposed to defend on any brand.
No.
Well,
The
no, it's
Intercon-
not. He's not the Raw International
Yeah,
Champion. He's the World
yeah,
International Champion.
yeah. But remember, championships are brand specific. So the Intercontinental title is for Raw only.
That's dumb.
The only one that can challenge across shows is right now is Damian Priest or Io Sky because they have the Money in the Bank briefcases.
If you go back and watch NXT, Cora Jade had a really good match against a rookie. This is this girl's second match, and the in-ring ability was pretty good. She needed somebody at Cora Jade's level to like help her flow better because obviously two great wrestlers wrestle better than two crappy wrestlers, you know.
Mm.
But I think this was her second match, at least on TV, anyway, and she did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
And then
Speaking of rookies taking on a veteran, what did you think about that new kid taking on Swerve on Wednesday?
I thought that was pretty decent. You can understand because when you look into that new kid's like actual life,
Mm-hmm.
that's about the fourth time he's wrestled Swerve.
Right.
So it's like you're gonna be goofy about it. It's like his big brother. So he's in the ring on national television in front of thousands and thousands of people
Yeah, and
with
he
somebody
was
who he knows and can trust.
yeah, and after his dad died, he was mentored by Darby Allin.
Yeah.
And he reminds me a lot. I know I've said this about other people, somebody else, I don't remember who, but he reminds me a lot of a young Will Ospreay.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. Yeah, he even looks kind of like him.
Yeah, he's got that same kind of build. He just needs to bulk up a little bit.
He also needs Swerve to grab him, sit him down in the chair, and say, "Calm down, son." You don't need to do a triple backflip off the top rope for every single move.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things I did notice about the kid is he always wanted to do some type of acrobatic move,
Right.
and he wasn't into like the elbow drop or the arm drag takedown too much. But for being as young as he is and being on national television, I thought he did good.
Yeah, the kid just turned 18 for crying out loud.
Yeah. Von Widener is somebody who's going to be on fire pretty soon too. Uh, him doing like actually opening up and talking about you know his real life and all that kind of stuff like that
Mm-hmm.
part of the show is getting better and better. But the crowd likes Von Wagner smash. Like they if he goes out to the ring and grabs the guy and beats him to death before the bell rings, his manager guy's flipping out, but the crowd is like, yeah, yeah, kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see he's getting better at becoming a actor, I guess you could say, or a performer. The NXT crowd was real hype for him last Tuesday. That's the extent of my notes from the TV shows.
Yeah, it's driving me nuts because I still can't remember who the hell Luchasaurus is going to be defending against.
Bobby Lashley's back.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was hoping
Where do you
Omos stepped out of that thing too, and they're like, "Okay, it's my new boy now." But no, Omos still.
where do you think they're going with that? A new Hurt business with Lashley and the Street Profits?
And don't they have to have that manager guy too?
I mean, not necessarily as the Hurt business, but I mean, putting a stable together with those three.
They need to do something because Bobby Lashley is like, how can I, what's a good way to describe it? Bobby Lashley's like vanilla ice cream. Most people aren't going to order a scoop of vanilla ice cream. But if you're like, hey, I've got some ice cream here, and they hand you a vanilla ice cream, you're like, oh, right on. And you're going to eat it. That's
Yeah,
kind of like Bobby Lashley is. Like, the people love seeing Bobby Lashley. They enjoy watching him throw people around. They enjoy him on the mic. But it's just like, yeah, there's Bobby Lashley. Pretty cool. Like, they need to do something different with him.
yeah, and to go to your point about Bobby Lashley's vanilla ice cream, you got a nice warm piece of apple pie, you got some whipped cream. There's something missing. I know. I'll put some vanilla ice cream on that pie. Now you got a good trio right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It just seemed like they're kind of stuck in a rut with Bobby Lashley, and they're comfortable with it because it's not a bad rut. It's comfortable. The ride's nice and smooth. It's just not really going anywhere very fast.
The problem they have is Lashley is a main event guy. They can't put him into the Raw main event because they drafted him over to SmackDown. And the SmackDown main event right now is still being taken up by the Bloodline storyline. I don't think they know what to do with him right now. And they've already done the Theory versus Lashley thing how many times over on Raw?
You think they'll put the belt on Jey Uso? I imagine that when him and Roman Reigns wrestling, the titles will be on.
I would assume the title would be on the line. Are they going to pull the trigger and put it on Jey Uso? They wrote Jimmy out for a reason. I wouldn't put it past them to.
See, I was thinking about that today. It's so hard to tell. You know, did Jimmy Uso have a vacation scheduled with his family this month, and he just needs a couple weeks off? So that's why he got wrote out of the script. Or, like you said, are they trying to, have Slimmy go solo and put the title on him? So they need to have a reason to get rid of Jimmy. Or, did Jimmy break his toe and he needs a couple weeks to rehab his foot?
Yeah, is he legitimately injured? I haven't seen any reports of him being injured, so I don't know.
I'll be back in a sec.
I don't think there's been any reports of him being arrested for drunk driving either. What was that, Jay? Shit, one of the Usos has a drinking issue. I don't remember which one of them it is now. It's hard to keep track between the Hardys and the Usos on that.
You throw that stone, Rich. You throw it.
Hey, I'm not going to hold back. You should know that by now. Yeah. I'm trying to think what else happened this week. This is why you need to start watching more of the weekly programs, Jason. So when Kingpin has to take off and go check his dog or whatever.
Yeah, I know it, man. I get to watch. I try to catch some of the videos on YouTube, just some matches and stuff. But yeah, this one's been a rough week for me, man. I've come home dead tired. And I got a couple new guns this week, so I had to have a night of bonding. You know what I mean.
And
I wish I could say I've got a couple of new guns this week.
it's been a couple of years since I got a new gun, so yeah.
Hey,
Ruben and Jason.
It'd been a while for me too. Well, except for
A
that
while for you is
rifle.
like a month or two. Be quiet.
Well, except for the rifle. Uh, man, I had these two in layaway for 4 months, and that's unusual. Like my my guy, he only like wants it to be in there like a month. Like good customers, yeah, he'll let you do like 2 months. I did 4 months, man, and I apologized 3 or 4 times, and he was all like, "Ah, no big deal, man. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." So I'm just thankful of having a good store to deal with.
Now, Kingpin, you brought up MJF and Adam Cole earlier about whether they're going to put titles on them. How entertaining are the two of them, even when they're blatantly doing something just to promote the video game?
Do the thing. Do the thing. This is the corniest, dumbest thing in the world, and it was funny. It was hilarious. I was cracking up. And then when he did it, the crowd was like everybody in the crowd did the Adam Cole baby.
Uh-huh. But the pre-recorded vignette they did, where they were at the bar and Adam Cole's like, "No, I can't do that. I care too much about Britt." And Jeff's like, "Okay, more for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then he comes back. He's like, okay, you want to hang out? Well, we got to do what I want to do. And they go back to Adam Cole's place and they're playing video games. That was a blatant commercial for their video game, but it was.
Well, yeah, of course, but it also tugged on a bunch of people's heartstrings
Uh-huh.
when MJF when that hard exterior cracked a little bit.
Yeah. He's like, haven't you ever played multiplayer games with friends? He's like, you got to have friends for that. And he was like, you've never played a multiplayer game with somebody? And the part where, man, I was getting ready to turn on you. And Jeff's like, man, I was getting ready to do the same thing to you.
Yeah. And see, that's what I think. They don't need MJF to be a good guy or a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
He can be whatever he wants. He could, like I said, he could come out and totally cuss out the crowd, and they'd love it. And then he
Yeah.
could come out later on in the same show and cornball up and schmooze with the crowd, and they'd love it.
Yeah. And the crazy part is, if you followed Adam Cole's career, he's a top-notch heel too. So legitimately, either one of these guys could turn on the other, and it wouldn't shock anybody.
All right, here's your trivia question, and it kind of toenails all this together with the next person. The answer of the who's the last person to beat Keith Lee in singles match?
Adam Cole.
Nope.
No?
It's not as long ago as you might think either.
Swerve?
No. Apparently, according to what they were saying, he had had a long streak of unbeaten singles matches until I think it was last week or the week before when Chris Jericho beat him.
Oh, that's right, Jericho. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jericho.
Jericho just said it last night, and I forgot, or
Yeah.
last night's show. I just watched it earlier today, for God's sake.
Right. But that's the person who also, during the same sentence, can cuss out the crowd and then schmooze the crowd, and they don't care what he just said. They just want to cheer for him.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, Adam Cole's the same way. You go back to Adam Cole when he was in NXT, for example, when he was the leader of the Undisputed Era. They'd come out and they'd beat on somebody with a chair. Adam Cole would pick up the mic and start spewing Adam Cole stuff, and the crowd would go nuts.
I like MJ. MJF does the Adam Cole dance at the beginning of the match, like
Yeah.
the whole boom and
Yeah, MJF on the floor doing it. It's Adam Cole standing on the apron.
that's funny, man.
Yeah, MJF is playing this up really well. Adam Cole is doing pretty good with it too. I mean, the whole "don't touch me" yet. Oh yeah, limits. I forgot.
I think Adam Cole would probably make a good actor too, because of what you just said, like how natural it seems to be. Like it seems like he really don't. Hey, don't touch me, man.
Mm-hmm.
And he is really he's excellent at portraying the character.
Yep. And not bad for somebody coming back from the dead.
Yeah. Oh, and you know,
Yeah, I know you haven't been following Adam Cole that long.
Dustin Rhodes, Barbecue sent us a text a couple of weeks ago or a week or two ago about Dustin Rhodes, and the match he had last night was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Like I give him his due. He's very good in the ring, and now he's 82 years old and he's all broke up, so he can only do so much. But even with the body that he's got now, he did a pretty good job as technical wrestling goes.
Yeah. Him and Keith Lee made Matt Menard and Angelo Parker look good last night.
Well, that's what I mean about the kitschy kind of stuff. Like, if I wasn't already aware of how Keith Lee's character was and Matt Menard, like if I was flipping through the stations and I stopped on that match, I'd never come back to wrestling because I'd be like, this is the dumbest thing ever. But when you're already into it and you kind of know the backstories and the character lines a little bit, it was super duper kitschy, almost like a scene in a movie. Like a movie was going to do a scene about wrestling, and that's what they chose. But it still worked out pretty good, especially the first double hand slap when the dude couldn't get his comb open.
Yeah, his switchblade comb.
Yeah, Jake the Snake's son slapped the piss out of Orange Cassidy, and they stole his world title from him.
Speaking of Menard and Parker, man, Jake Hager gave the hat back to Jericho, and he loves that hat.
Yeah.
How many times have we heard Jake Hager say he loves that hat?
I'm not really too sure what's going on there because according to the way Chris Jericho and Tony Schiavone were talking last night, Jericho's going to get wrestle more often, wrestle more people, be more active in the solo competitions. Where I was thinking that he was gonna dissolve the Jericho Appreciation Society because he was ready to go home.
Well, that's not what they're going. What they're going with on that is Jericho or isn't Jericho going to join Don Callis?
Right,
That's why Jake Hager's like, until you make up your mind, I can't be with you.
Well, until last night, I was thinking the same thing. Like, still, Jericho's going to be like, look, Don Callis, I'm not ruining my reputation going with you. And Jericho Appreciation Society, you guys go do you. You got me at home. If you ever need me, come by the house, but I'm going to go retire. But then last night, he said he's going to wrestle a whole lot more.
Yeah, but Hager's point was the Don Callis thing.
But it doesn't make any sense at all for Chris Jericho to join with Don Callis.
Well, it does if you know their history.
Well, but that's what I mean. Like, from my point of view, is he doesn't need to get booed. Jericho can be a bad guy, just like that. He doesn't need to be, unless he's going to use the no way Don Callis to like push him more into the good guy role, more fluently, as opposed to him just coming out one day and being the good guy because he feels like it.
Mm-hmm.
But him joining the BCC doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Well, if you look at what Callis is doing, he's getting a bunch of guys that have issues with Kenny Omega together in one group. That's why Pac is siding with them, because Pac and Omega have a history.
Is that cut on Don Callis' head real?
I think.
Because I remember when it happened, they jumped him backstage.
Uh-huh.
But I thought that he, during the act, he either bladed himself because he was supposed to bleed, or he fell down and hit something by accident and busted his head open.
I'm not saying it was intentional, but
then I was looking at it the other day and I'm like, man, that sure does look like it was painted on his head.
Yeah, I don't know, but it wouldn't be the first time where somebody got scarred because they cut themselves too deep or something happened that shouldn't have happened.
Well, that's what I think it is he meant to get bumped and knocked around, and when he was getting bumped and knocked around, as he turned to fall to the ground, he hit his head on something accidentally. The human being hurt himself.
Oh, you know why the guy in FTR that has hair, why he wears that armband around his arm?
Mm-hmm.
About a year and a half ago, when Young Bucks and FTR were feuding over the AEW titles, he got his arm caught on the hook on the turnbuckle,
Oh,
and he almost bled to death.
ah, man, that's bad.
Yeah, he had to have surgery to repair his arm. The the or I forget if it was artery or vein, but he damaged it, and he could have bled out.
I don't know what the dude's name is. Not Seamus, and not the stupid little long-haired gremlin-looking guy, but the big bulky
Uh,
guy.
Ridge the Fridge, Ridge Holland.
I guess it's not Butch and it's not Seamus. It's the other
Yeah,
guy.
that'll be Ridge Holland.
He hit that exposed turnbuckle
Mm-hmm.
full speed.
Yep.
Like, man, he needs a round of applause for that because, as far as dedication to the job, he didn't pull nothing back when he ran into that thing, man. He hit that daggone thing hard.
Yeah, he sure as hell did.
Ricochet must never. Next time Ricochet has a microphone in his hand, I'm kicking Triple H's ass myself. Man, he sucks.
That's why WWE should never have gotten rid of managers. Back in when he was in Lucha Underground, they had him with Conan, and Conan did all his talking for him.
Yeah, but they could simplify that. Ricochet could have grabbed the mic, even if they wanted to take him in the middle of the ring, and just be like, "Logan Paul, get out here! I'm kick your ass," and just. But this prolonged dialogue with people who aren't good at it is
Mm-hmm.
painful.
Yeah, and when I saw that, I knew you were going to say something about it. Like, Kingpin's going to love this one.
Hey, and to be completely and totally forthright and fair and balanced, one of my favorite wrestlers should never hold the microphone. Tiffany Stratton needs a manager. Man, she sucks on the mic.
Oh my god. She sounds like when she's on the microphone, she sounds like one of those snooty high school girls.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think that she is that. I think she is. They gave her that character, and she's
Mm-hmm.
just invented. That's what I think. Because she kind of seems like the Wayans when they did the White Girl movie.
Yeah, white girls.
Yeah, she sounds like she's one of those characters where if she was really truly a snooty white girl in real life, like in high school or whatever, she'd probably be better at it. She was probably like math valedictorian and just a really good gymnast in high school. And nobody liked her, but they sure liked watching her bounce around.
Mm-hmm. But she needs to quit the whole. Every goddamn promo doesn't have to end with toodles. I remember one of the other matches that's going to be on Clash of Champions, Battle of the Belts. Jack Perry and Hook for the fake world title, the FTW Championship.
That match has the potential of being uh, going viral. We'll put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Being a really, really amazing match if they let those two dudes wrestle for a while.
Mm-hmm.
If it turns into them just grabbing each other and punching each other in the head in the middle of the ring and then hitting each other with a bunch of chairs. That's going to be dumb.
Well,
But
I
if they,
don't think it's a no DQ match, so hitting each other with chairs wouldn't be allowed.
speaking of no DQ matches, shame on WWE for making the Miz's match no DQ.
Mm-hmm.
They should have just made that a regular stipulation match or a 2 out of 3 falls or
Yeah.
some kind of I quit or
The
something
no
like
DQ match, if they're going to have those two feuding, should have been saved for SummerSlam. That,
they could. If they want to do a bunch of these type of matches, they can have Winter in the Cell, where every single match is a cage match, where Miz and Tomasino wrestle in the cage, inside the cage, so they still have an actual match to wrestle. I don't know. I was interested in seeing the Miz get back into being like a regular wrestler, but I don't know if they're going to do that now.
yeah, it just didn't make sense at that point for that match to be a no DQ match. That's the match you use to blow off the feud, not to start it. Just felt out of place.
I mentioned it earlier, but the WWE stars, main roster stars, spending more time on NXT. I got to give a big salute to the corporation of WWE for that because it's great for the television ratings. I imagine. Uh, they do, obviously, they do a good job. They sell it pretty well. Uh, the Carmelo Hayes and Trick wrestled against Damian Priest and Finn Balor. Finn Balor and Damian Priest won, as you would imagine, but the NXT team got a chance to shine and really do some good fighting. The biggest part about it is back to the fact that there's only 200 people in the crowd. So those 200 people got to see the World Heavyweight Champion, arguably top 5 most popular wrestlers, Seth Rollins, defend the title. Then they got to see the Judgment Day with Rhea Ripley and Dominic and all of them. They got Mustafa Ali, they got Corbin. So it's pretty cool for such a small crowd to get to see some more premier faces.
Now, here's a question. Judgment Day beating Carmelo and Trick. Fine, okay, no problem with that. Should Carmelo have taken a second loss to a main roster guy, or should have Trick took the pin in that match?
Correct. Absolutely correct. They're treating Carmelo like Spud Webb would get treated at the club after hours. Michael Jordan and all the other 6'9" guys, tall. Spud Webb's a great basketball player. He's cool and all, but this little short guy over there. And they're making Melo look little. He was getting tossed around by Braun Breaker like nonstop. Then like you said, Finn Balor's whooped his ass twice in 2 weeks. And he's your NXT champion. He's supposed to come on like he's him. I don't know. They should have let Trick take that ball.
If you want to go that route, he also lost to Seth. So, I mean,
Who lost to Seth?
Carmelo did.
Seth Rollins?
No, he didn't. I'm thinking the Carmelo. He was helping Seth.
Yeah.
Brain. I haven't had any sleep. My brain ain't working.
Now, a match that you might want to go back and watch on NXT was the Braun Breaker Ilya Dragovich match.
Yeah, I heard that was supposed to have been good.
It was actually not a bad match at all. They didn't go all crazy like Dijak and it wasn't a who can kill each other first match. It was they wrestled quite a bit. and Braun Breaker lost, even though I'd have probably preferred Braun Breaker to win. But he took a ton of damage the last minute of the match. Dragovich was hitting him with this huge move, then this huge move, then this huge move, then this huge move, and then finally got him for the pin. So it worked. I was very satisfied, even though Breaker lost.
Yeah, but in that same vein, you should go and look for the Gunther versus Ilya Dragunov when he was going by Walter still before they changed his name to Gunther. The two of them, man, they've had some insane matches over in Europe, particularly in NXT UK, where they're right up there with Sheamus and Gunther.
I might be getting the cart a few miles in front of the horse by saying this. Dragunov could be the next Mankind. Mick Foley, and they don't have to put a stupid mask on. But 30 years from now, kids are going to be like, "Can you believe? You remember the match when Dragunov jumped off the top of the Empire State Building? That was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life." And Jason's boy Commander is his check's got to be looking good if he gets paid. If he gets paid based on the premiere of his match.
Sure.
He had a title match against Claudio Castillo last week, and this week he had a match against Chris Jericho.
Yeah. Commander's also taken on Kenny Omega in the past. I mean, if he's getting paid by who his opponent is, that dude is raking in the bucks.
I haven't seen Tony Khan make any announcements about announcements that he has to announce.
Yeah, right? You thought for sure by now he would with the Wembley show coming up the next month.
Yeah.
Did anything good happen this week with Orange Cassidy? Like, did he get his head busted open and his
No.
skull stomped into the?
Well, yeah. Remember, I guess you were muted, so maybe you were away from the computer. But Jake the Snake, his son, his son is a wrestler, I guess.
That's not his son.
It's not. It looks just like him. He looks like he could be his kid.
No, Lance Archer is not his son.
Okay, well, Jake the Snake has got a guy named Lance Archer that he's working with. And Lance Archer called out Orange Cassidy. He had beat the crap out of two of Orange Cassidy's friends and said, "If you don't come out to the ring right now and accept my challenge, I'm going to kill your friends right here in the ring."
Hold on. Not friends.
Oh, he called them
best friends.
Well, yeah, best friends, but he called them bitches anyway.
So he's going to kill him?
Yeah. He said, "I'm going to kill him right now."
Well, Lance Archer's nickname is the Murder Hawk Monster.
So he had them both in choke slams, like he was going to double choke slam them. And Cassidy's music came on. They came running down to the ring. I'm not really too sure. You definitely approve, Jason, but when you're sitting there thinking, this guy is fresh, he's waiting to fight, and you're going to slide under the ropes and not expect to get kicked in the face while you're on the ground? Like, I don't understand why wrestlers do that. They run into the ring.
Because baby faces are stupid.
Well, he was stupid because he rolled into the ring, and before he got off the ground, that Lance Archer guy was giving it to him. And Jake the Snake took his title from him and said, "If you want it back, come see us on Saturday."
Oh, well, hell yeah. Damn, I'm going to have to go try to find a way to watch that.
TNT.
Now, he was about to catch a beat down in the middle of the ring, but Jake the Snake was like, "No, don't do that. Wait till Saturday.
Don't kill the golden goose."
Yeah, he said, "If you beat him up now," basically he was saying, "If you beat him up now, we're not going to get a title shot Saturday. So wait till Saturday and then kick his ass."
Yeah, wait till Saturday, then you can kill him.
Yeah, and
Tell you what,
Orange Cassidy just laid there against the ropes, looking all stupid.
I'll tell you what, the crowd went nuts when Jake hit that short arm clothesline on Trent during that match when the referee's back was turned. Crowd started to shut.
Oh,
cheering.
right, yeah.
Crowd went nuts cheering for Jake after that. Lance Archer's like, don't cheer him. Don't cheer for Jake. He's the bad guy. For a minute there, I thought they were going to pull something where Lance Archer and Jake Roberts were going to break up or something because the crowd was cheering for Jake. But that's not where they went with it.
I think that was a little unexpected. I think the crowd was just saying, holy crap, we just got to see Jake the Snake do a clothesline.
In 2023, yeah.
Yeah. So they were probably just like, yeah.
Yeah, nostalgia pop is what they call it. Imagine if you would have hit the DDT after hitting the clothesline, the crowd would have lost. They would have all been losing their voices at that point.
Man, I could tell you honestly right now, I never thought I'd be 50 years old and talk about Jake the Snake clotheslining somebody last night.
Right? I'm only 1 year away.
God
Yeah.
damn, that's like, I just can't recall 40 years ago thinking we would have this conversation.
Mm-hmm. Well, hell, 20 years ago, looked like Jake would have been dead by now.
Yeah. Maybe it's a fake Jake.
No, man, it's DDP yoga.
Maybe he drank so much he just embalmed himself.
Yeah, right.
That's what I was going to
Like
say.
Keith Richards.
When you smoke so much crack, if it doesn't kill you, then it starts to preserve you.
Yeah, like it's like he's the wrestling version of Keith Richards, is what you're saying.
That fucker ain't real.
It was painful. That like he wasn't moving very fast. He can barely speak. You still felt it, like, because once you get in your mind, Jake the Snake is telling somebody how dangerous things are about. You start remembering how mean and nasty and believable he used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you turn the TV show off and you start thinking about it, you're like, man, that old man was rough.
He ain't no spring chicken, that's for damn sure. It's like Arn. Arn gets out there and he's moving super slow. It's like, they had actually pitched at one point to have Arn take on Jake back when Lance Archer and Cody Rhodes were feuding. Both guys were like, no, we won't survive. But Tony Khan actually pitched that to the two of them to have a match or get involved where they took bumps or something in a fight between the two of them. And they're like, no, that ain't gonna work. Jake talked about it on the podcast with him and DDP were doing it together. It's like Tony Khan wanted me and Art Anderson to go out there and get into it, and DDP was like, he wanted you to do what? DDP was like, is Tony Khan trying to get the two of you killed? Have a funeral right there. Have the corner show up and do the inquest right there in the ring.
Corey Graves, hands down the best announcer on any of the TV shows.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
By far. Like he could
Oh,
host all the TV shows by himself, and that'd be good.
yeah.
He needs somebody to talk to so he can make fun of. But Corey Graves is fabulous.
Oh man, that when I watched Raw, and I had to text you on that one. The other reason why I graduated, it's like come out to the Macho Man's theme music.
He when he said "God save the Queen," man,
Yeah,
I lost it because I was like, man, that was, and it was fresh because Joe Biden had
uh-huh,
just said that.
yeah,
Uh, the dude that Kevin Patrick guy,
uh-huh.
I accept him. It was kind of funny. I don't know if you noticed Bailey. Bailey screamed out and yelled something about him being a jerk or something.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes the wrestlers will like say, "Hey, Kevin Patrick, you're a schmuck." Uh, I I don't really like either one of the SmackDown guys. They work well enough together that it's acceptable, but man, I don't know. It's like a world of difference between Raw and SmackDown for the announcers. The the British guy on SmackDown does a good job of pumping up the bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm just not a big fan now. I said all that to say I'm really growing on Booker T and the uh, whatever his straight man is.
It's Vic
On
Joseph.
the guy with NXT, I'm not too sure what his name is.
I think it's Vic Joseph.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
The other day,
Booker
Booker
T, man. Oh
Booker
my
was
god.
rolling. He was saying, and I can't remember what he was talking about, so I'm not. I'll just make up subjects. But he was saying something about, oh yeah, when you walk down the sidewalk, you got to make sure you put one foot in front of the other. And then like 2 seconds later, it was like I walk backwards with my feet over my head anytime I'm on a sidewalk. And the dude was like, Booker, you're not making any sense there.
Booker never makes any damn sense.
Booker just as cold as could be was just like, look, man, don't worry about what I'm doing over here. I got this. And then a couple weeks ago, when the referee wasn't paying attention and somebody was cheating, and Booker T was just like, "Hey, man, sometimes stuff happens." It's just the way he was doing it was just really good.
Yeah, Booker T is one of those guys that he starts rambling off and you think he's drunk, and then after a few minutes you realize that guy ain't drunk.
And if you pay attention to what he's saying, like when you can hear what he's saying, because sometimes he's too raspy to understand. He's funny, man. Like he'll ramble on for 10 minutes about something, and once you
Mhm.
start paying attention to what he's saying, you're like, "Holy crap, that was a hilarious joke he just told."
Yeah, it that rambling on shit is why he dropped the N word on Hogan because he just goes off. He's been like that his whole career. You go back and you watch some of the old Harlem Heat promos and shit.
That was funny. That was funny as hell.
He's got no filter hardly at all between his brain and his mouth. But neither did Randy Savage. Apparently, neither did Sid Vicious.
Hey, mate, you want to hear something weird about Macho Man? I saw a little YouTube clip, little short video thing about him, and it was him and Sting, right? And it was like a just like the filmed, thing for wrestling thing, right? But it wasn't. And them guys was talking about something they owed him $100 on a bet or something, $500 on a bet for something, and Macho Man wasn't gonna pay him, and that dude said he knew him. But Macho Man wasn't talking like Macho Man. He was actually smiling and laughing, and Sting was smiling and laughing at him, but it was like totally out of character for the Macho Man. He wasn't talking the Macho Man thing. He was just like talking to his buddy, and it was just weird. You'd have to, if I could find it again, I'll send you a link to it because it was just weird. It was Macho Man like he was a nice guy or something. Smiles ear to ear, laughing. It was just strange to see that. Like truly, think about when's the last time you see Macho Man like bust a gut laughing, where it wasn't just like ooh yeah and a smile or something. I mean, just
Mm,
like a person just like like he was watching Rodney Dangerfield or something, laughing. It
probably
was strange.
1987 when I was having dinner with him.
Well, I'd imagine that that's probably true with if you think back to like, any of our like iconic characters across our lifetime. You know, if you saw Macho Man at the gas station and was like, "Oh, excuse me, sir, how do you get back on the highway?" And he was like, "Oh, you take a right down here and you get on First Street, and then at that light, make a left, and it takes you right back to the highway."
Mm.
And you're like, "Wait a second, was that Randy Macho Man Savage talking like a human?" Because you'd expect him to be like, "Brother, you gotta get on the highway from here to the gas
Oh
station. You
yeah,
go
you gotta
straight
make the
down
right
there."
down there at the light, and then once you go make that right, you gotta go like 3 miles down that way. Oh, yeah. Then you'll make a left, and then you gotta make sure you got the cream of the crop in the car with you. But the same,
Oh yeah, never
oh
leave
yeah,
home
snap
without
into a
knowing where
Slim
to
Jim.
go.
It'll keep you from getting hungry on your long road trip.
And this guy right here, he's got the GPS, brother.
You know, you'd be weirded out if you walked up to him and he was just like, "Oh, hey, yeah, I'm not from really from around here, so I couldn't tell you. You might want to ask somebody else. Sorry, man." You're like, holy crap. Does this guy just look like Macho Savage, or was that really him?
You want to see something really funny with Randy Savage? Go look up the cartoon Dial M for Monkey, which was one of the ones that was on Dexter's Laboratory, and look for the episode called Rasslin.
You know, I thought of this in the other, put the shoe on the other foot, Kingpin. Like, what if somebody come up and asked you for directions and you was Randy Savage? But they didn't recognize you as Randy Savage. You're just an everyday dude. Hey, man, how do I get to exit 13 to get back on the highway? You'd have to be sitting there thinking, like, you don't know who I am, you know?
Oh, everybody would know him at least as, hey, you're that Slim Jim guy. Because those Slim Jim commercials were everywhere back in the day.
It's kind of like the thing what I'm getting at. Like, what if you were super famous, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you just wish, like, man, I wish I could. I can't even go to the gas station without somebody wanting an autograph. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden, you know, some old lady comes up to you and needs directions. You're thinking like autograph time, and she don't even care who you are. She needs directions.
Hmm.
Like he's getting ready to sign something. She's handing him a road map. Do you know where we're at right here?
That's like the old story about how Charlie Chaplin entered a Charlie Chaplin lookalike contest and lost.
That reminds me of like back to school when Thornton Mellon had the author write the story about the author,
Uh-huh.
and the teacher gave him a failing grade and was like, "This is the biggest piece of crap ever."
I actually saw some Rodney clips the last couple of days, man. Damn, that dude was good.
Yeah, Rodney Dangerfield.
Hmm.
Said he had a dog and named it Egypt because every room it walked into it made a pyramid.
There's one that I could easily find it if I looked it up, but I can never remember how it goes. Uh, he said something about he walked into a bar. He said he walked into a bar and he's like, uh, he told the bartender make him feel good or just something, and the bartender started showing him naked pictures of his own wife. I can't, man.
Oh yeah, he says. I walk up to the bartender. He said, "What do you have?" I said, "Surprise me." He said, "He opened his wallet and showed me a naked picture of my wife."
Yeah, that's it.
I said, surprised me, not terrified me.
There's some. There's. It's on YouTube out there. They got a collage or whatever you call that. Of
Yeah,
videos, and you get every single scene that Rodney was in on Caddyshack. So you can like watch all the best of the movie in like 10 minutes. That's so funny. He got to dancing with that that Ted Knight, the richety uppity guy there.
Hmm.
He got dancing with his wife and grabbed her. And, this was like 1980 and things was different. You know how today it's kind of like, hey, $20 is $20. You
Hmm.
know, back then he grabbed it and goes, hey, how would you like to make $12 the hard way?
Hmm.
yeah, look, dude.
No respect. That dude never got no respect.
No respect. No respect. I can tell you, I get no respect.
It's a bunch of good ones when he's on Johnny Carson.
Hmm.
And he just goes and rambles off for 5 minutes. Oh, I also watched a few. Here's a guy, man, that always makes me happy. He makes me laugh and just uncontrollable laughter sometimes when you catch something you never saw before, which I did this week. But Rodney is one of the all-time greatest. Uh, you know what I mean? But Sam Kinison, man,
Hmm.
Sam Kinnison's a funny son bitch. Was. Yeah.
Yeah, Kinnison, Carlin, uh, Rodney. Oh, me and my brother got in trouble because we stayed up late one night and watched a George Carlin special. He's talking about this accident over in Eastern Europe somewhere with a roller coaster where like 50 retarded kids died in this roller coaster accident. It is the funniest thing ever. Me and my brother just laughing our asses off, which is how we got caught.
Oh, I just remembered that the movie Old Back to School. Uh, Rodney and Sam Kinison went at it. Remember, Sam Kinison was a history teacher.
Mhm.
That was a good scene. Did Rodney ever do any wrestling promo things or anything?
Yeah, I think he was involved with the one WrestleMania.
I don't think he ever did any kind of like in ring stuff. I think he might have just
No,
promoted
no, no. But like
wrestling.
special guest star or something.
Yeah, he'd been on. Like I said, I think he did one of the earlier WrestleManias or something. I think one of the best guest spots still is Bob Barker when he basically remember in Happy Gilmore when Bob Barker and Happy Gilmore got into it.
Yeah.
Bob Barker basically redid that with Chris Jericho on Monday Night Raw.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah,
Price is wrong, bitch.
yeah. Going back to the Savage thing, you guys need to watch that Wrestler episode of Dial M for Monkey. It's a cartoon, and Savage does the voiceover of the villain, and it's freaking hilarious. If it wouldn't be for the potential of getting a copyright strike, I would play it and everything. But yeah,
I'll be back in a second.
I'm sure Discovery Warner would probably hit us for that. I don't even know if that's on YouTube. It might be.
You know, it'd be funny if you had a voiceover and you had Macho Man do Darth Vader.
Oh, good lord. Oh, it is on YouTube. Oh yeah, Randy Savage's Space Ghost Grandpa. That was on Space Ghost Coast to Coast. That fake talk show they used to have Space Ghost hosting. That's not the full cartoon. Damn it. Just a 1 minute clip. Oh,
That'll probably happen a couple more times. Did you guys leave?
oh no.
No.
I'm just waiting to see if the power goes out like last week. It was about this point in the show last week when the power went out. Yeah, we're supposed to have storms in the area again today. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, ours are supposed to come next
It
hour.
rained all day here, but no storms, just light,
It was
cool
thunder and
wind.
lightning earlier. Yeah, I don't know what else to talk about. Might just wrap this one up early. I need to get to sleep anyway. I haven't had any.
Is there any other wrestling that we didn't cover?
Not that I can think of.
When's the next pay per view?
NXT has one the end of the month. They had the Great American Bash.
That's what I wanted to ask you about. How in the hell do they get away with stealing the title Great American Bash?
They own it.
Was that a WCW thing only?
Yes, it was.
See, I knew the names of the shows back in the when I was a kid, but to me, it's all NWA. And I know that there was an AWA and there was a CAWA and all this other kind of crap. But to me, it was all NWA. So when
The
I think
Great, the Great
Crockett
American,
and Great American Bash and all that kind of stuff, I think them.
yeah,
SummerSlam.
Great American Bash was owned by Crockett, and Crockett's what formed the nucleus of WCW. So when they bought WCW, they got all the Jim Crockett promotion stuff, which included the Great American Bash.
Didn't they have Starcade?
Yep, they got the rights to that too. They've actually done Starcade in NXT.
That makes me feel dirty.
No, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, Starcade was always was the NWA, or at least on Crockett's side of it, their version of WrestleMania. And it came before WrestleMania. If there was no Starcade, there would never have been a WrestleMania. And Starcade was always around Christmas. A couple more weeks. I'm trying to remember. Is it the 20? Is it the 30th? Kingpin? Do you remember when they're going to have the Great American Bash? Or is
Uh,
it the 29th?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think it's that weekend. I just don't remember if it's Saturday or Sunday. Then AEW, they got theirs at the end of August. August 27th, I think, is the Wembley show. And then SummerSlam will be around that same time period. So next month there will be both an AEW and a WWE pay-per-view. I think there's an AEW pay-per-view in September too. What they were saying on Cotaholic yesterday, I think it was. Unless they don't do All Out because they're doing All In, which would make sense for them not to do it. I mean, they would be literally a week apart because All Out is usually the first weekend in September. So to do All In and then All Out a week later would be kind of dumb. Especially when All Out was the sequel to All In anyway, the original All Out. All In, for all intents and purposes, was a AEW pay-per-view before there was AEW. Have they even set up any matches for the Great American Bash yet?
I've heard him. I've heard him hint toward stuff happening there, but
Nothing
nothing
official.
concrete. Yeah, just get. I'll just make it up. Just like stuff, kind of like Braun Breaker saying, "I'll see you at Great American Bash," kind of stuff like that.
Mm. So, given what happened last night, you think it's going to be Bianca, Charlotte, and Asuka in a triple threat at SummerSlam? That sure is where it looks like they're going with that.
I think that's where they're going with that, and I think that's where they're going to go with that all the way up until they go with that. So this is the second time that they've done it. Because Charlotte had her match first, then Bianca got involved. Then Bianca had her match, and Charlotte and everybody got involved.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're just going to continue doing that until SummerSlam, and then they're going to do it at SummerSlam.
Now, does EO cash in at SummerSlam?
I don't know. That's a pretty good question because what's the point of putting the belt back on Bianca or Charlotte? And really, what's the point of taking it off Asuka? Except for you can't promote Asuka. She can't speak English.
Or she can, she just can't do it well, which is why they need to put her with a manager. There's
Io,
reasons they were managers back in the day.
Io
But
Sky needs a new character too. Like she could be like a samurai type of, like, if she still wants to be glory and seductive and you know spooky and stuff like that. But I don't even, what's the stupid Batman girl name now that everybody likes? Something Quinn, Harley Quinn.
no, Harley
She's
Quinn.
Oh
she's
yeah, Harley
Chinese
Quinn.
Harley Quinn, just like all the rest of them.
Well, they can't make her a samurai because then they get sued by AEW because she'd be stealing Hikaru Shida's character. Make her Yakuza.
No, then she'd have to get a bunch of foul tattoos all over.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, speaking of somebody with, what the hell are they doing with Shotzi? They turned her into a complete lunatic.
Holy crap!
She went all female Joker,
Gee,
shaving her head and everything.
that
That was that was weird.
was hard to watch. That was dumb.
Yeah, I didn't say she went Joker in a good way.
I'm highly critical. Like, I haven't. I think the last movie I went to the theater to see was How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I'm pretty sure that was the last movie I paid to go see. I think there might have been one after that. Uh, I'd rather, man, I'd rather watch a Yankee Marshall live stream than a Marvel movie because they're so dumb. And that's what hurts about wrestling is sometimes wrestling does some really dumb stuff. Most of the women's division in professional wrestling is dumb. Oh man, I hate it.
Shotzi in that promo looked like. I swear I was waiting for two guys in white coats to come out with a straitjacket.
Yeah, that made me think about what was the last movie I ever saw, and then you moved on and talked about the Marvel things, and that's funny because the last movie I ever saw in the theater was like Captain America, like maybe like 2012, maybe something like that.
Last one I saw in the theater was Aquaman.
You know, I saw the Captain America one, first one I'd ever seen of those movies, and it was the never seen him before, and I really didn't get it. I didn't really understand any of it.
I used to watch every movie out there. Me and two of my friends. Well, it was kind of a thing between all of our friends, but me and these two other dudes would watch. Most of our friends would like to watch good movies together. So like we talked about last week, we'd watch Goodfellas every day for a week, just because we were just sitting around chilling watching Goodfellas. These other two dudes, we'd watch the most obscure, ridiculous stuff that you could see. It didn't matter if it was on the movie shelf and we haven't seen it, we're gonna rent it, we're gonna watch it. People when I when I tell like the people who like know me around on this side of the camera that I wouldn't be caught dead watching any movie. Any movie. I'm not watching it on television. I don't want to see your DVD. Damn sure not going to a movie theater. People start flipping out. They're like, "Oh my god, you watched that one movie and like you're only like the first person, like the fifth person in the world that's ever watched it." I was like, "Yeah, I know. That's why I'm pissed off that I can't watch any of this garbage that you're gonna go pay and see now." That was my rant about movies. Terrible.
We should all go watch that one that the left is throwing a fit about. The one that Mel Gibson made. I can't think of the name of it right now.
Mel
One
Gibson.
about child trafficking.
Mel Gibson didn't make that.
Oh, he was a producer on that one.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it was one of his productions.
Yeah, I don't think so. You might be right, but I don't think so. Because I know a lot of people were flipping out to thinking that he had his hands all over it when he might have been slightly involved, but it wasn't like a Mel Gibson like Passion of the Christ production. At least from what I understand. Either way, it's called Sound of Freedom. And
Yeah, yeah. I always
Oh,
remember the Freedom Part. I can never remember what the hell the rest of it is.
oh yeah, I suggest everybody go watch it. I'd like to watch it just because the left doesn't want me to.
There's supposed to be a site online where you can go watch it for free, legitimately.
well,
Oh yeah.
how about why don't between the two of you guys find a site online that we can pay to watch it, so proceeds will go to the film, and we'll watch it tomorrow backstage.
Is it on Prime or is it on Netflix or something?
Don't think it's on either any of those, but let me
I,
see.
I'm
I
I'm putting it
thought
on
this.
you guys because there's no way I'm going to find it on the internet. That's just not possible.
I think the studio itself had it on their website. Could be wrong, but I thought they did.
And if it's $50, fuck them kids.
Hell, the story's 4 years old. They already rescued the kids.
Yeah.
Well, that movie was supposed to have been made like 5 years ago. It just took them this long to get somebody to freaking release it.
Yeah.
Fox was going to release it, and then Disney bought Fox, and then Disney put the kibosh on having it released.
Man,
RogerEbert.com. How the hell does Roger Ebert have a website when the band's been dead for how many goddamn years?
hey, man, I witnessed this child trafficking shit firsthand every day, man. It's not I don't know what this one's about. I know they say, that child that's like sexual trafficking thing. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the bringing here very young teenager kids and putting them to work like, I don't know, basically slaves.
And they're also
Uh,
moving out of
the
those states,
the
too.
work is the work has just been overran with them. Uh, and it's not just that there always was, what I'll just call Mexican workers. Been tons of them, worked with them for years, but just the last year or two, just swamped with young teenage boys. And when you go to places like you'll run into the gas station or something like that, and there'll be like 6, 7, I don't know, 8, a good bit of young teenage boys getting ready to work. None of them speak a lick of English, and there'll be one old, like Mexican man, and like they're getting them something for they go to work. Like these kids act like they'd never been in a store in their life. They're looking at bags of chips or a bottle of water, and like you can just tell they're lost. You know what I mean? They don't know, and each one will go up to the old guy and like show it to him if he can have him, and the dude will just shake his head, and then he pays for all the kids his little snack and a pop, and whips out a great big fat wad and pays with $100 bill. See it
No,
every day, in and out, all the time, man. And
like
these kids are coming in. They've changed our work where you don't have to be a certified electrician. They can unload 5 teenage Mexican kids that don't know a damn thing what they're doing, wire your whole house up, and then at the last minute they send in a real certified electrician to like do the last couple connections, and then we're done here. They do
uh,
it with the heating and furnaces, the lights, the electric, everything, man. And it's it's got to be like a human trafficking thing. It's just so odd and so out of place. You know what I mean? And there's always the one old man, the one big person that's speaks English and stuff, and he's controlling it all. And you just tell by these kids they're like lost, man. They're not from here.
according to the internet, it's not going to be available for streaming until September 8th, and then it'll be on Amazon Prime.
Oh, well, I got Amazon Prime.
So do I.
Let me back inside.
September 8th.
Yep.
That's football season.
Uh-huh.
That's poor timing.
September 8th is the second Friday in September.
Oh, we got to do another one of those. We got to watch it when Ohio State uh, plays Notre Dame this year.
Do they play Notre Dame this year?
Yeah, like third game in. I think it's like third game for me. It's like fourth game for you. Last year it was the first game. Remember?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Now it's like you start a week earlier than us, so it'll be like your fourth game and our third game or something like that.
Going
But
back.
instead of like last year, we were like watching it on TV. When I see my cable will push it out and do it. We need to like do like the the pay-per-views and like all of us watch the same screen where everything's happening at the same time.
Well, didn't we do it that way last year?
No, no, I watched it off
Yes.
my TV set, and I think I was a little bit ahead of you guys, like by 20 seconds, and I had to hold my mouth and not celebrate and stuff, waiting for you guys to catch up.
Because I had it where we were streaming it. You just had to be special and watch it on your own TV.
Yeah, well, we'll get it going this year.
But no, it's not going back to the Mexican dude at the convenience store. That's not out of place. That's how it's been here in Maryland for 30 years. Uh, I've been screaming about this and nobody ever pays attention to me. They think I'm stupid. 15 Mexicans live in one house. All of them are legal immigrants. All of them work on the same job site, whether it's drywall, whether it's painting, whether it's landscaping, whatever it is that they're doing, they all work on the same job site.
Yep.
None of them get paid. They get the apartment that they live in that they have to pay for. They have to pay rent for that. So their hourly check, big chunk of it goes to rent. Then a big chunk of it is their food, which is kind of a little bit different because most of them, especially the really younger ones, the older guys get their own allowance, if you want to look at it that way. Go to 7-Eleven, they get to order what they want. If the guy feels like paying for it, the guy doesn't feel like paying for it, you ain't paying for it, you ain't getting it. Their entire paycheck is spent at 7-Eleven on their lunch each day. At the end of the week, they get zero money in their hands, so it's not like they can go out to McDonald's on a Friday night with their friends and relax. They're all slaves.
Yep.
Where I work at, they feed them. They bring them big nice breakfast or big nice lunch. There's a lady that pulls up in like station wagon little cars, and she's got the hot food in the back, and she just stops out front and they come out. Yeah, but I have seen where they paid because I wanted to get some shit before once, right? And they tell me no. The guys who do the framing, the roofing, and some other stuff, the girl who brings the food, the mama there cooks all morning long or whatever, she's paid for by the framing company. She just straight brings the food out to the workers. They don't pay her nothing for that.
With that the situation that Kingpin was describing, for all you out there that want to defend Andrew Tate, that's what that motherfucker was arrested for doing to women over in Romania. He admitted to it numerous times on his damn YouTube channel.
What? Buying them free lunch? What's the
No, he was enslaving them basically the same way Kingpin was just describing those Mexican workers. Doing the exact same thing.
You got a contractor, $100 a sheet. Hang it, finish it, scrap it out. And you're like, all right, here's $100 a sheet. That guy brings in those 15 same guys and pays them $5 a sheet. And out of that $5 a sheet, they got to still pay their rent. They still got to pay for their food and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest kick in the pants is about 20 years ago, that whole Mexican guy will do it for half the price as the white guy will, that went out. The Mexican guys get top tier money. The illegal immigrant gets top tier money. Because like you said before, Jason, the one guy who's shaking his hand and saying, yes, I'll have my team here tomorrow, this is my job now, he's legal. He's paying his bills. But all his guys are illegal, so he's going to get a huge cut out of it and top tier pay when all the dudes that are doing all the work are going to get slave wages.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's part of it. You said you cried for years. Nobody listened. I cried that for years too. When they say, "Oh, well, the Mexicans is here doing it cheaper and running out. No, that's bullshit. They do it a little cheaper for a little while. What they do is they come in and they just physically overwhelm and ran out all the other workers of contractors. You know what I mean? Like where I work, when I started, like it used to be, a concrete guy. That was a good, successful, good paying job. And not to be racist about it or anything, but there would be, just to come do a driveway or sidewalk, there'd be a dozen or half dozen, whatever you want to technical get or whatever. Anyways, white guys and black guys, family, American people making a good pay, successful pay. You know what I mean? And that got all completely ran out the door and replaced. And now you got three Mexicans out there doing it. But the concrete's still getting paid the same amount. You know what I mean? It just, they took over every single industry like that. Like the framers. I knew a crew that were getting 15 to like $16,000 to frame up a house, and there was 10, 12 more, you know, hardworking family men making good pay. 'Cause they do a house in a day, day and a half, right? And move on and build another one right next door. I mean, people are making money on this stuff. And the contract ran up with this company, and I work for them too. And then you can only redo your price once a year, stuff. And then, you kind of float in limbo and everything. Well, they trapped him into it. And all of a sudden, instead of paying 15, 16,000 a house, uh, now they only want to pay like 12,000 a house, right? Uh, don't say nothing about it, and you only get paid once a month. So the many houses they do, once he goes pick up his pay for it in a month, he's like short like $80,000, and they're like, nope, that's all we're gonna pay. And he got mad, and he's like, well, that's bullshit or whatever, and they made him mad enough that he quit. The very next day, and for all these years out, instead of it being a dozen people out there making a good living, now it's three or four guys. Some of them don't even have trucks. They get just dropped off with tools and a gas powered air compressor, and let three Mexicans that don't even speak English grab your blueprints and start framing and building your house out there on your foundation. And yeah, they do get it done in a day or a half too. But still, they've stolen all the jobs and the futures from like a dozen people. But like, it's not because it's cheaper. It's the head chief in charge is just raking in 10 times as much money.
Caulk and paint will make a house what it ain't.
That's true. I always say putty is my buddy.
But that's it. That's those three Mexican guys can build a house that six regular dudes would take. Three of them can do it in the same day that six dudes would do it. But it's not put together right. And and those six dudes worked 2 days building the house because they took the time to build the house properly. Then they went home to their family and then came back to work the next day. Took the time to build the house properly and then cleaned up the house and then left and moved on to the next one. Well, those Spanish dudes showed up at 6 a.m. and didn't get picked back up until 9. If if they're lucky, or the floodlights turned on at 9 and they got picked up at 11.
Yeah, and that part about the whole thing is, some industries you see it more and more, some trades, I mean, or whatever, but they're getting young, man. They're getting young to almost where, like, I thought we had child labor laws in this country. You know what I mean? They're getting young. Now, I
Well, if you're a
understand a
child
lot
that
of
they
times,
don't know,
I know a lot of I know a couple situations where there's some pretty young kids, but there's some hard workers, but they're only working right now because they're off school and they getting paid. They get to keep their money because they're gonna go buy like a new PlayStation or some shit. They're friends of mine's kids. You know what I mean? It's cheaper
Hmm.
to bring them to work cause in
Yeah,
you
Well,
know
yeah,
what I
it's
mean?
still
And
a
they're
job.
making something and they're talking about it every day. I'm
yeah.
saving my money for this or
The
that.
labor laws are different if you're working for your family than
Yeah,
if
but
you're being employed by somebody else.
yeah, there's a few of them, but there's also a few that like work every day, winter, summer, fall, everything that
Hmm.
I've watched grow up from small children to still young kids. But I mean, it's like it's child labor, man, and it's and if you look at it the other way, as bad as that is, you kind of think, why do they let this happen? You know what I mean? Why is it such turn a blind eye? Why is it so much of it so rapidly? You know what I mean? I think you look at it another way. I think all the younger people now, they're kind of like screwed because these people took their jobs, but like it becomes skills they'll never learn. Like I said, it used to concrete jobs, used to be, dozens of fathers and families and in a trade. It was a good paying trade. An electrician, a framer, a roofer. You know what I mean? There's no young kids now, like 20 years old or 18 years old, getting out of high school and like, hey, I want to be a roofer or a trade, of some type. There's no place for them to go get a job because all the jobs that do that are swallowed up by this. You know what I mean?
Well, we need to start wrapping this up, guys. So, Jason, you anything you want to plug or anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Uh, no, not really. Probably should, but I can't think of nothing. But thanks a lot, man. It's good hanging out tonight. Talk wrestling and talk. What is it? The Cry of Freedom.
Sound of Freedom.
The sound of freedom crying. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so maybe September 10th, we could do that on the Unloaded Media channel where people can watch along at home and we can watch it like we do with one of the pay-per-views or something. We'll see.
Watch along.
Yeah. What about you, Kingpin?
Get an education, stay in school is what happened, Jason. All the liberals told the kids that you people were stupid for swinging a hammer, and then you told all the kids that they're stupid for wanting to swing a hammer. So nobody wants to swing a hammer now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the double-edged sword is what killed the guy with the hammer. That's what I'm plugging.
Yeah, listen to Mike Rowe and John Ratzenberger. You don't need a college education. Go to a trade school.
But but the problem is the white collar guy told everybody that get a computer degree.
Yeah.
Then the blue collar guy sitting there with the young dude at lunch, take his hard hat off and looks at the kid and said, "You better get an education, kid. You don't want to end up like this."
Mm-hmm.
Instead of saying, "You better pay attention to the guy over there with the blueprints in his hand. He makes $80,000 a year and he's got a secure job and a great wife and he's going on vacation to Hawaii for 6 months." Both sides of the collar told the youth coming up that swinging a hammer was for suckers.
Mm-hmm. That's why I said you got to listen to people more like Mike Rowe and John Ratzenberger. Man, you want a job? Don't go to college. You're not going to get, especially for like some stupid liberal arts thing. You're not going to get a job. You're going to get a debt that you're going to be paying off the rest of your life. Go to a trade school where the tuition's cheaper and you come out and own an actual occupation, being a welder, a plumber, something along those lines. Anyway. Oh, good. You gonna say something, Jason?
I was just gonna say politics pays well too.
Only if you're one of the certain few. But yeah. Anyway, if you like the show, got the Patreon link down below. If you can't do that, we also have the link for our Blackout Coffee affiliate and a coupon code for 20% off. So go check that out. 20% off your first order anyway. And if you haven't watched any of the My First Gun for Lakeview videos, go check those out. It's a good cause. If you can help out there, check out Scotsman's channel. You go over to Unloaded Media, watch my video. I got the link to Scotsman's video over there. And yeah, I think that's about it for this week on the wrestling show. We will catch y'all tomorrow on the Unloaded Media channel for This Week Unloaded. Have a good night, everybody.
You guys are probably really scared right now, and I understand that completely. But I get the better of the deal, and even though it's 3 versus 2, you guys are outnumbered because we're better than you guys. Yeah, we are. We're legends in our own mind compared to you guys. Even though you guys got the egos, we have got the wrestling skill. And this guy right